All right, guys, welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. This is our third segment of the night, and we are talking now about how important are coaches in golf. And it is a conversation really catapulted by the Davis Riley win and how his coaching change really helped him at the Charles Schwab Challenge. He reunited with his former coach, Jeff Smith, going through a couple of months where he changed from, I forget his recent coach's name, but he goes back to his coach, Jeff Smith, who has been coaching him for most of his life. And now, it helped him with all aspects of his game. I talked about it in the first segment. I'm going to restate all the statistics that really, showed up in his win here. He started with him at the Players' Championship to Jeff Smith after his disappointing, I believe he got cut from the Players' Championship. And then Davis Riley has been, kind of battling to get back to that point. But, and I'm now going to look at kind of his results in recent memory because you have the win at the Charles Schwab Challenge. He does not get into the PGA Championship. He goes tied for 66th at the Myrtle Beach Classic. That was earlier in May. At the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, he was tied 30. The Zurich Classic, which he won, he did not. He finished tied for 28th, and he won that event last year. He was cut from the Valley Road Texas Open. He was tied for 14th at the Houston Open, cut at the Valspar, cut at the Players Championship, and then a surprising win here at the Charles Schwab Challenge. So what's different, what really goes into this, because he had such a disappointing beginning to this year. I mentioned those recent runs, but even before that, the Century tied 52nd. Then you get cut at the Sunny Open, cut at the Amex, cut at the Farmers Insurance Open, 78th at Pebble Beach, coming in dead last. Mexico Open, he was cut. Not a lot of golf being played by him, and then he just suddenly wins this one. So he talked about how important the coaching change was for him. He mentioned that reuniting with Jeff Smith, it wasn't reinventing the wheel of his swing. It's just I feel like I'm in a good headspace and comfortable there, and I feel like simplicity has been the key for me. And those are words that Jeff Smith has told him, and he echoes now. Here is just to be comfortable with your swing, don't do too much, and that leads to a fantastic performance here. He doesn't have a lot of scores where he's in the reds, right? He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all year. He has 5 red scores all year. And it's been very disappointing for him. However, he gets this win here at the Charles Schwab. So Jeff Smith really helps him out. He goes 6th in strokes gained off tee, 4th in strokes gained putting, 2nd in strokes gained on approach, 69.57 on scrambling, all aspects. That is driving, putting, irons, wedges, every club in his bag were working for him. The fairway woods were great. The entire weekend was so impressive from Davis Riley. I can't say that enough. And this, the reason I want to talk about this as a bigger conversation is because I kind of have noticed this as a trend in golf lately. I talk about it with Victor Hovland very often, how he hasn't been having a great year after he won the FedEx Cup last year. Very out of the blue, not having a great year here for Victor Hovland. And why is that? Well, after he finished in 2023 as the FedEx Cup champion, Victor Hovland changed coaches very, very surprisingly. Nobody really saw that coming. He changed philosophies. He kind of lost his way in his game, and then he reunited with Joe Mayo, who coached him throughout the entirety of 2023, and then he reunited with Joe Mayo right before the PGA Championship. The week before, he finished 3rd at the PGA Championship, and that has been the only event that Victor Hovland has played in since he reunited with Joe Mayo, as that was 2 weeks ago, and he did not play at the Charles Schwab Challenge. But going into the RBC Canadian Open, he's definitely a name that I want to watch, see how he plays. Another name that kind of went through the same way is Colin Morikawa. Before the Masters, he talked about being in a transition period. He split with lifelong swing coach Rick Sensinghaus in the fall. He then had pretty bad he had a pretty bad run in the months following last fall. And then ahead of the Masters, he got on the phone with Rick, and then he, met up with him a few times, helped him out with his swing again, and then he finished tied for third with Collin Morikawa. He said after his round on Sunday, he said it's been much better. He was asked about his headspace. I owe a lot of that to Rick. Obviously, joining back up with him, it's been awesome. It's not like we've done anything new. It's just being able to talk. That's the exact same thing that Davis Riley really said, was it's not anything, reinventing the swing here. It's just getting in the right headspace, talking through it. This goes to show how much of this sport, how much of the PGA, how much of golf is so mental. It's such a difficult sport when you think about the mental side of it, as well as placing the shots. Victor Hovland, after the PGA Championship, said, I thought this was going to be a little bit of a project and maybe take 6-8 weeks before I would see kind of immediate improvement. Instead, he contended for the win on Sunday, and then he said again, yeah, that was kind of the best case scenario right there, kind of joking after his win after his third place at the PGA Championship. So it's a trend in golf. These guys going to a different coach and playing, or going to the coach that they found success with and playing so much better. Whether that is just the habits that they gain from being with that coach kind of helps them when it comes down to the week and weekends of the tour and playing at the actual course. Of course, you can't have your coach on, right there with you. However, a lot of these guys, are talking to them throughout the weekend. So it's just a place of home that these guys feel. Rory McIlroy, he went to see Butch Harmon, I believe a few weeks ago before his run that he had. He said the work I did with him wasn't a tremendous amount of changing what he did. It was his attitude and the way he played certain shots. From 150 yards out and in, he made me do a full swing like he was hitting a driver, and I wanted him to make more like he was making a full swing like he was hitting a driver, Rory McIlroy, and Butch Harmon told him to kind of slow down, play 3/4, and that helps Rory McIlroy get 2 wins on tour. So a lot of these coaches, Butch Harmon, of course, being such a legendary coach, working with just anybody in the PGA field, he's retired recently, however, still working with guys, when they call them, especially a Rory McIlroy, who has been kind of searching for his game for a little bit while here. But of course, Butch Harmon being Tiger Woods' former coach when he was on his absolute tear from 93 to 2004. He was Phil Mickelson's coach from 07 to 2015 when Phil Mickelson was playing at the top of his game. Was Coach Greg Norman, Fred Couples, Ricky Fowler, Jimmy Walker, Dustin Johnson, Gary Woodland. Butch Harmon, the most legendary coach there has ever been in golf. There's a reason that people like Rory McIlroy immediately go to him when they're looking for something in his game. But yeah, these coaches mean something to these players. These coaches do a lot for these guys, not just for their swing. This is kind of what I wanted to highlight here, talking about those quotes. All of these guys are saying, we're not doing so much to my swing. I'm not changing anything really about how I play golf, because these guys aren't on the tour without having, some of the best swings, on the planet, right? So it's not so much about, changing how they play, how they swing the golf club, or just like how they play certain shots, what we're going to do like 58 yards out. What are we doing? Are we doing a 52 degree, 56 degree, 60 degree? What's the play here? What's the club you feel most comfortable with? And working with an individual, working with somebody that you are close with, feel very comfortable with, and can talk through those decisions with, really helps, all these guys on tour, really helps. As I mentioned, it helped Davis Riley in this one, winning the Charles Schwab. It's helped Collin Morikawa. He's played so well as of late. He's been in the top 5 of so many tournaments. and then Victor Hovland getting his third place at the PGA Championship. And now Victor Hovland is going to, place so much better from how he started the year to now. I'm very much looking forward to how he kind of climbs especially in the FedEx Cup rankings, as he is known to win some of these lesser golf tournaments as he did last year, and that's what helped him. You have the RBC Canadian Open coming up, but the event after that is the Memorial Tournament in Dublin, Ohio, which is the tournament that Victor Hovland won last year. He played so well at that. So I'm excited to see how he plays, as he's for sure going to be in the field that week trying to defend his crown there. But that'll wrap it up with our talks about coaches in golf. Just to reiterate my thoughts here, I believe that they are so important, not just about the swing, but about, just having a place of comfort to go to, having that person to go to talk through your game, through your swing. It's not what like Wyndham Clark's going through with needing the sports psychologist. It's more of just like having that friendly face to make you feel comfortable throughout the tournament, throughout the weeks, because the PGA Tour is hard, because we're going from one weekend to another weekend to another weekend. It's great for me who gets to cover all of this, but it's very hard for these golfers who have to go through it. So, that'll wrap it up for our talks about coaches on the PGA Tour. When I come back, we'll be talking about Scotty Scheffler, Scotty Scheffler, and is his run ending or just starting?